my beautiful friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Angel from Simply Angel Tia. So I'm just going to show you the materials I'll be using for this. So I'll be using this Impeccable from Looms and Threads. Okay, as you can see here, the information for this yarn are 285 yards, or if you go by grams, it's 127.5 grams. It's a medium weight, number 4. Recommended hook size is number 5. And it's 100% acrylic, and the color is called Claret. Okay, so if you can see there, so this is what I'm using for my project. Of course, you can use whatever yarn you want. I will also be using this 5mm crochet hook, which is also what is recommended. I will need a darning needle as well as a tape measure. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do the base of my sweater. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off with a slip knot, just like that. And then I'm going to crochet a chain of 11. So 1, 2, 3. As you can see here, this is the back of your chain and this is the front, and we're going to be working with the back of the chain. Okay, so we did 11 chains, but we're not going to be working in this 11th chain here. We're going to start in this 10th chain by doing a single crochet in the back loop. So just like that. Oops, this is usually tricky to do this part, but you will get it. So a single crochet, and then we're going to pretty much go ahead and do this along our remaining 9 chains. So that's 2, all right, so that's our first row here of the single crochet in the back of the chain. And to go ahead and start our second row, we're going to do a chain 1, turn the work, and this is where we're going to be working with the back loop only of the stitches. So we're going to go ahead and do our single crochet in that very first stitch there, and then we're going to move on to the next stitch and do a single crochet in the back loop. And then we're going to pretty much do this all the way to this end here. So I stopped here to show you guys in this last stitch, instead of going through the back loop only, I'm going to go through both loops like so. Okay, and then to start our third row, we're going to chain 1, and then we're pretty much going to do the same thing and just repeat these until you get your side size. So I'm going to do my 15 inches, which I believe is about 50 rows total. So go ahead and do so. Now when you come to this end here, don't forget to go through both loops for the final stitch before you chain 1 and turn, and you're going to repeat that consistently all throughout your this part of the sweater that you're building up. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Go ahead and build up the size that you're looking for, which is half of your waist size. And then when you come back, I will go ahead and show you how to finish it off so we can get the second panel started, and then we'll go ahead and do the sleeves as well. Okay, so build up your size here and then come back and I'll show you guys how to move on to the next step. So I have my 50 rows here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and start the next row here, and I will just do a chain 1 just like that. And then in each of the stitches, they're not really stitches, they're just kind of spaces, and I'll show you where. So in this, as you will see here, this is a bump here because we did the back loop, and then there's a valley here, and then there's a bump here, there's a valley. So we're pretty much doing our single crochets in these spaces. So the first one will go right there, and the second one will go in this valley, just right inside the valley there. The next one will go on top of this bumpy area, and then the next one will go in the valley again. So you're going to do this single crochet pretty much all across this band here, all the way to here. When you get to here, come back and I will show you what to do for the first row of the actual work, because I'm not counting this row. What I'm doing here is I'm just establishing stitches where we're going to do our double crochets. So go ahead and build it to here. When you come here, when you get to here, come back and I'll show you how to move on to the next step. Okay, lovelies, so I did my single crochet pretty much from here all across the band up to here. So this was my last one that I just did. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the next row, and this is going to be double crochet row, and this is going to be the rest of our panel. So I'm going to do a chain 2, turn my work, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a double crochet beginning from this very first stitch from the hook, and I'm going to pretty much do a double crochet in each stitch going back. Actually, you know what, let me just quickly undo this. I think I should be able to do one more single crochet stitch at the end here, because I think there's a gap to do one more double single crochet here. So see, it's always good when you're doing something for the first time, you just kind of gauge to see what you need to do. But yeah, we needed to do that. So then okay, I'll go ahead and do chain 2 here, turn my work, and then we'll go ahead and build up our double crochet stitches, and we're going to do that in each stitch across the work here. Okay, so for those of you who are new learners, double crochet stitch is pretty much where you yarn over, go through the stitch, bring the loop back. You have 3 stitches, or you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull over 2, yarn over, pull over 2. So that's your double crochet stitch. So this is one of very basic stitches that you need to know if you're a learner. I have some stitches on my channel where I show you guys how to do single crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, back loop, going through both, all of that kind of stuff, and I do it a lot more slower, just so if you're a new learner you can actually learn how to do the stitches that way. Okay, so this is pretty much what we're going to do for the next. For me, I'm doing 22 rows. So this is my first row of the double crochet here. I don't count the single crochet as a stitch. It's just something that I just established my stitches with. So this is my first stitch here, my first row. When you get to the end, you put your very last one in this stitch right here. This final stitch here, you're going to put your final double crochet there, chain 2, turn your work, repeat, and you're going to do this until you have the number of rows that you require. For me, I'm going to be doing 22 rows. So go ahead and do that. When you're done, the number of rows that you're looking for, come back to the video and we will pretty much go ahead and move on to the next step. Okay, so see you guys in a bit. Okay, welcome back my friends. So I have completed this panel here, as you can see. So this is what we started off with, which is the single crochet in the back loop, and this is why we have this nice rib here. And then we went ahead and did the whole panel with the double crochet stitch, and as you can see here, that is all we have done. So this is my 22nd row here, and my 22nd row is from this first double crochet here, and then I did 22 rows up till I got here. Okay, so this is for an extra small to a small. So like I said at the beginning of the video, of course, if you are making it at a medium or a large, then you would be making, first of all, this would be more rows than the 50 rows that I did. And of course you would also go higher here and wider here as well, based on how wide this is. Okay, all right, so we're going to go ahead and end our project right here. So I'm going to cut this. Okay, so I'm going to cut that off right there, and then I'm going to go ahead and just secure these here by doing a slip knot, just like that. Okay, so this is completed. Now just to show you guys, because we're making the exact same one, I did another panel as well off camera. So I actually have my both panels completed, which is my front panel and my back panel, and you don't have to decide which one is which because they're exactly identical. So that's it. So since we have the body of our crop top sweater completed, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do the sleeves. Okay, so this is done. We're going to put these to the side so I can show you guys how to do the sleeves. So I have my 5mm crochet hook here that we've been using. It's important to use the same size hook here just so your work stays consistent. So this is my crochet hook that I've used for the 2 panels. Okay, so to get this sleeve started, I'm going to start again by doing a slip knot like that, and then I'm going to do a chain of 11. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. So I'm going to show you just one row here and you will do the rest on your own. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's literally just the exact same thing we did here, except you're going to do less do less rows. I believe I'm going to do a total of 22 rows total, a total of 22 rows with these, and that will be enough just for our calf here. And then we're going to increase the work on the sleeve so that it gets bigger as it goes up your arm. As you know, your hand will get bigger as you go up the arm. Okay, all right, so I have my 11 stitches here, or 11 stitches, 11 chains, and I'm going to do the single crochet in the back loop, or in the back of the chain like we did in the previous. So I'm just going to show you guys quickly here, and then you're going to go ahead and do your number of rows, which for mine I'm going to do 22 rows total. Okay, so that's the first row of the single crochet here, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the second row. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and then I'm going to go right into single crochet in the back loop right after the chain 1. The stitch is where you go right after the chain 1, and then of course you're going to continue to do this along the 10 stitches here. When you get to the end here, instead of going through the back loop of the last stitch, you're going to go through both loops like we did in the previous work for the body of the sweater. Okay, and then you're going to chain 1, turn it around, do the same thing, and we're going to repeat this for 22 rows for me. If it's that your size is going to be extra small to a small, you're going to do the 22 rows. And then when you get to that number of rows, or the number of rows that you desire for your sweater, then you're going to come back to the video, and I'm going to show you what to do next. So I will see you guys when you get to the number of rows that you desire for your sweater. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay guys, so I have the wrist portion of my sleeve made here. So as you can see, and by the way, just a quick correction, I did say to do 22 rows, but I actually ended up doing 24. And it's pretty much just because this is the first time I'm making it, honestly, and I'm making this pattern as I go. I didn't really know what the size was. I kind of measured my wrist, and then I thought it was going to be 22, but I did 24 just so it's a little bit on the loose side. So as you can see here, this is pretty much part of the sweater that we have done. So that's going to be my wrist, and then we're going to build up the rest of the sweater up like this, the rest of the sleeve. Okay, so I did 24 rows. You can do obviously however many rows that you require for yours. So just another thing quickly is the way I count these rows is you will see, because we did the single crochet in the back loop, it has these ribbons like that, and each of these ribbons have 2 rows in them. So I just counted 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So there's 12 total of these, making it 24, because we're doubling that 12 because these are 2 rows per all of these bridges here. Okay, all right, so let's move on to the next step. So the next thing that I'm going to do here, just the same as we did with the body of the sweater, is we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to pretty much start by doing our single crochets along this part of the sleeve. So we're going to do the single crochets across like this, and again we're going 1 in the bumpy area, do a single crochet, and then 1 in the valley and do a single crochet, 1 in the bumpy area, do a single crochet, and then 1 in the valley, do a single crochet. So go ahead and do that until you get to the end here. When you get here, I'll come back and I will show you guys how to move on to the next row. Okay guys, so I have completed my single crochet row right here, and I've just gone across this section of the sleeve, okay, because we're building up the sleeve like this and we're building it flat, and then we will join it at the end so that it actually is a sleeve where you can put your hand through like so. Okay, all right, so after that one single row of single crochet, I'm going to chain 2 and then turn my work. And then I'm pretty much going to start by doing my single crochet, my double crochet right in the first stitch after your chain 2, and we're going to do this across this section as well. So do your do your double crochet all the way to here. When you get to here, come back, because I'll show you guys how to do something a little bit different. So go ahead and do that first row of double crochet. Okay guys, so I have completed my first row of the double crochet, and so this is what it should look like now. As you can see, it's very kind of straight, but we don't want to keep it that straight because otherwise these will get smaller as it goes up your arm. So we need to increase the sleeve a little bit like this so that it gets bigger as it goes up your arms. Okay, so to do so, in the next 4 rows, so this is the first double crochet row where we have no increases, but in the next 4 rows of the double crochet we're going to be increasing, and I'll show you 1 row of that, and then you will do the next 3 by yourself. And after those 4, you're going to pretty much continue to just do the normal double crochet until you get your the length of your sleeve. But I'll show you how to do the increase in these rows. So after you've completed your first row of double crochet, you're going to chain 2, so 1, 2, and then turn your work. And then in this very first stitch right here, you're going to do a double crochet. Okay, so that is not an increase there, that is just a normal double crochet. But in this next stitch here, you're going to increase by doing 2 double crochets in the stitch. Okay, so you're going to do it like that. So this is how you increase. So now we only have 2 stitches that we just went into, but we have 3 double crochets total. Okay, and then you're going to do the regular double crochet along this row. Okay, so no more increases until you get to the end of this row. So go ahead and do this until you have 3 stitches to go, and then come back and I'll show you what to do to increase on that side as well. See you in a bit. Hey guys, so I am at the end of my second row of the double crochet here, and I have 2 more stitches to go, so 1, 2. In this next one here, I'm going to do my 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and that is increasing the work. And then in the final one here, I'm going to just do the regular double crochet. Okay, so I have just increased by doing 2 double crochets in the second stitch from the beginning here, and then I'm doing the same in the second last stitch. I did 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So we're going to do this for the next 3 rows. So this is your first row of increasing, and then you're going to do this for the second, the third, the fourth, and then the 6th one going forward, you just do the regular double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to show you just how to do this, and then you'll be able to do the rest. So at the end of that, you do your chain 2 again, you turn your work, and then you do a normal double crochet in this stitch here, which is the very first stitch after the chain 2. And the next after that, you're going to do 2 double crochets. So that's where you're increasing again for this row. Okay, and then you're moving ahead and continuing to do the regular single double crochet in each stitch until again you get to the second last one, where you will do 2 double crochets in the same stitch and then finish 1 double crochet in the final stitch before you chain 2 and turn and then repeat. Okay, so I'll just quickly show you here. So as you can see, our work is going outwards like this. Okay, so the goal here is to make this a little bit wider so that when we complete our sleeve, which is going to go like this, that is a little bit tighter right on the wrist, and then as it goes up like this, it kind of has a little bit more space to go up. Okay, because also your arm, let me show you like this, your arm obviously gets bigger as it goes up like this, because it's not the same size as it is here at all. It makes it bigger. So that's what we're doing here. Okay, so go ahead. So this is our first row of double crochet right here. These had no increases. The second row of double crochet, we increased once here, so we did 2 increases. in the third we're going to do the same. We're going to do 2 increases, and then in the fourth we're going to do the same. So we're going to have 1 2 3 4 rows of increasing, which is going to make this go right here like this, and then it's going to go up like this. So after we increased it like this, and then we're going to keep it consistent by no longer increasing, and our sleeve is going to go up like that. Okay, so go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do about 34 rows total. So I have 1, this single crochet that we did right after we turned the work to work up this way, it doesn't count. I don't count that as a row, but this is a row, this is a row, this is a row. So I'm just now starting my 3rd row, and I'm going to do a total of 34 rows altogether. Okay, because that is the length of my sleeve all the way up to the top of my shoulder here. Okay, so go ahead and build it up to the number of rows that you need for the length of your arm, and when you get to the end, come back, and then I will show you guys how to go ahead and move on to the next step. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so I have come to the end of the length of my sleeve here. So as you can see, this is where we started off with our sleeve, and then we built up like this, and this is where I am at now. So this is the length of my sleeve, and it's about 20 inches long. Okay, and this is from the top of my shoulder to pretty much the end of my wrist right here. Okay, so that's it here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just make that a little bit smaller here and cut it off, and then we're going to do a slip knot here to shut it, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, so as you can see here, I have already put a stitch marker. It's just exactly halfway here, and that's because I'm going to be folding my sleeve like this to make the actual sleeve. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing. It's shutting it like that, and that way we have the full sleeve going like this. Okay, all right. And also the other thing is I also went ahead and made the second sleeve off camera. So I know you guys are probably still at the first sleeve, finishing the first sleeve, and then you came back to the video. So you will need to pause the video again and make your second sleeve. And when you have your second sleeve, just like I do here, then you come back and I'll go ahead and show you guys how to connect everything. Okay guys, so I have my work all lined up here nice and straight. And the way I just kind of put the stitch marker here is I just counted 10 stitches this way, and on the 10th stitch I put a stitch marker there, and then I match it to this side as well. So I'm going to show you how to just shut this section up here, and then I will show you guys how to connect the sleeve, and then we're gonna do the rest of it, and then I'll let you guys do the second side completely on your own. So I'm gonna be showing you how to just do this one side. I have also put the darning needle, the yarn through the darning needle for the sewing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with that. Okay, so we're just going to make sure we line up our work here very nice and straight, and then we're going to put our thread right there, and we're just gonna pull. There you go. I'm gonna leave it like that because I'm gonna use it to tie there. But then I'm gonna move up here, and on the very first stitch I'm going to take 2 on this side. I'm going to go through both stitches like this, and on the opposite side I'm going to go through just the one that is on the outside, and then of course we're going to pull that. Okay, and now just to make sure this is not going to be distracting here, I'm just going to tie these together like so. Just so we can cut these off, and then it's not really becoming an obstacle for when we're sewing our work, because there's too many strings hanging around here. Just gonna do one more. There you go, and then I'm gonna cut that off just like that. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead back and continue to join our work here. So, and then of course you're going to line up your work so you can work each and every single stitch will match on the other side. And like I said, you go through both on this side, and then when you get to the other side, you go through just the outside loop only. Okay, just like that. You go to the next stitch and you do the same thing. you go. And you're going to do that until you get to where this stitch marker is, and just right where the stitch marker is where you're going to do your very last thread, and then you're going to come back when you have done that, and I will show you guys how to move on to the next. Okay guys, so I have done my final stitch here, which is the 10th stitch. Okay, and now that, okay, so as you can see, this is pretty much it. We have shot the top of the shoulder portion here, and I'm just going to sew these in and then kind of weave it in like so, so we can cut that yarn off, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step of doing this side. So just like that, and that there like this, and I'm going to cut these off just there. So there you go. Now if you have just like the place where you cut off here showing, it's okay, because when we're done, we're actually going to flip our project. So this is going to be what is showing up on top, and this is going to be the inside of your sweater. Okay, so don't worry too much if you see the places where you cut off the yarn kind of sticking out like that. All right, so now that we have done that, I'm going to grab one of my sleeves here. And this section where we're going to be joining this sleeve is where we're going to put it in the bottom. So we're going to actually line up our work like this, and like I said, I've already put a stitch marker where it's exactly the middle of the folded work like that. So I'm going to actually do that right there, and I'm going to sew it starting from here, and I'm going to go all the way until I come back to the other side. Okay, so you're going to take your stitch marker here. Okay, just make sure you know where it is. You're going to take that off. Okay, so make sure your work is straight. So just play with your sleeve and make sure it's completely straight. And so I'm going to pretty much take my stitch marker here and just put it right on top of the sleeve here to mark that section, because we're going to be sewing our work. Just trying to put this here so it's on camera. So we're going to be sewing our work like this. Okay, so let me just bring that into focus here. So it's a little bit challenging because my camera is mounted, and so I cannot stretch the camera. I can only kind of move my work around to make sure it's lined up like that. Okay, so this is pretty much what we're going to do, is we're going to line up our work like this, and we're going to sew right there. Okay, so that when we're done with that section, then we can just flip these and sew it like that. Okay, so I'm going to flip it like this because we need this section to be the outside. Okay, so just like that. And I'm going to take my thread here, and I'm going to start right here, and make sure when you line it up, this section from where you start off here is gonna match on this side as well. So let's just do that right now. So if I start right here, it's going to be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 stitches in. Okay, so I'm gonna just put my thread in there right now. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure I have 9 on this side as well. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So that's gonna be, I'm going to mark it right there as well. Okay, so this is, I marked it right there, and now I'm going to work my stitches, and I'm going to pretty much start on this side. But again, keep in mind, because this one side here have definite stitches that you can see, but this side doesn't, you're going to try your best to just work these stitches here, and when it goes to the other side, you're going to go through just the back of that stitch. So you're just going to go here like this, and when you get to that side, you just grab the back stitch only, just like that, and then you're going to do the same here. So I'll let you guys sew your work all the way until you get to where the stitch marker is here. When you get to here, come back and I will show you how to start off by folding the sleeve and then making the sleeve the actual sleeve. Okay, so go ahead and sew in this section here to here, and then when you're done, come back and I'll move on to the next step with you guys. Okay guys, so I have gone ahead and sewn my work. As you can see here, it pretty much started right here. Okay, and then I've joined the sleeve all the way to here, so this is why I ended it here. And so I'm just gonna quickly show you. So like I said, this side is going to look like it's kind of bumpy up like this, but it's okay because when we're done, we're going to flip our work so that this side is going to be what shows. So as you can see here, this side is a lot more neater. Okay, so you don't have to worry so much the fact that your work is a little bit bumpy here. Okay, now we're going to put the sleeve together, and again we're going to make sure that this side of the work is going to be where we're sewing from. So I'm just going to fold my sleeve like that. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of flip it this way, and as you can see, I'm going to have it sewn just like this. So this is the sleeve. We're going to sew the sleeve all the way until we get to the wrist section right here. But obviously you need to make sure you're lining up your work really well. So again, I'm struggling a little bit here because the camera is set up so that it doesn't allow me to kind of give you too much of the section to see here. But what you're going to do is pretty much, this is where your sleeve is, oh sorry, where your stitch this string is, where your darning needle is stuck to, and you're going to just make sure you sew your work very nice and straight down the sleeve. Okay, so I'm going to show you again how to do that here. So because this is where we're connecting the sleeve, we're just going to do one right straight like that, pull it through like so, so that these two sections are connected. Again, just do one more there. Okay, now there you go. And again, this stitch, there's no actual stitches here for you to connect your work. So what you're going to do is you're just going to make sure you go through it as easy as you can. Don't grab too much of the work, just go as thin as you can and just go like this. So you're not going through the back or through the front only because there's no way to determine those stitches when it comes to this side of the work like this. Okay, so you're just going to pretty much sew through and through. Just make sure it goes to the other side and you're going to pull it, and that's pretty much what you're going to do here. And you're going to do this all the way until you get to this section of your sleeve here. Okay, so you're going to sew it all the way up to here. When you get to here, come back and I will pretty much show you guys how to do this bottom section of the sweater, which is from here to here. And when that's done, then I'll let you guys do the second side of the sweater on your own, and then we'll pretty much be done. Okay, so I'll see you guys when I finish this section here. Alright guys, so I have completed sewing the sleeve together. So as you can see here, this is all done. This is where I went down the sleeve to sew it all the way to the end here. So this is pretty much completed. I will not turn it yet, but when we're done sewing everything, we're gonna be flipping it so that this part of the sweater is going to be the inside of it, so that we can get the nice clean side on the other side. But I'm going to quickly show you that we're going to sew this section here together. Okay, so we're going to shut this gap here, and I'm going to just kind of start it with you guys, and then I'll have you guys pretty much do the exact same thing on the opposite side, and then our sweater will be done. Okay, so here you're just going to line up your work again just like you've been doing, and when you have it nicely and lined up like this, you're going to take your darning needle, and the first thing I'm gonna do is just I'm gonna go right here. Okay, I'm just gonna pull the string. I left it long like this because I want to be able to use it until the end. So when I have that like that, I'm just going to tie this section here just so I can then cut that off eventually, but we're going to cut it soon, so we're just going to leave that there for now. And then for the actual sewing of the actual work, I'm just gonna go do one more sew here. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit tricky, but you know, you just kind of do your best to make sure you're doing it correct here. Okay, and now that I have that completed, and then I'm going to start by going through both sides here and then coming through just one of the furthest stitch on the other side. So this particular part here, because we do have stitches that we can kind of follow with, we're going to try our best to make sure we do that. And then when we get to this section here where there's not definite stitches, then we're just going to do the same thing we did on the sleeve here. Okay, all right, so I'm going to do just a few more with you, and then you're going to go ahead and finish the rest of it on your own, and then go ahead and connect it on the other side of the sleeve as well, and then we should be done. Okay, so I'm going to do one more here, just like that. Okay, there you go. So you're going to continue to do this until you connect this final one here, and then you're going to go ahead and finish. And as soon as you get here, make sure you shut your, this is the armpit area, make sure you shut it completely nice and tight, cut off your thread, and then you're going to move on to doing the exact same thing on this side. And when you're done with all of that, come back and we will flip our work over, and then our sweater will pretty much be done. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so I have pretty much completed this crop top sweater here. So as you can see, I've sewed it all along here. That is my sleeve, as you can see, and it goes all the way here, and this is the body of the crop top, and then the other side. So the only thing that I haven't done is just flip it over, because like I said, the way we're sewing it, this is going to be the inside, so we can hide all of these places where we knotted the yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and just flip it here. And that's pretty much it. So I will probably try to do more of this just so I can get used to the different measurements and things like that. But for the first one, I think it's really nice, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Ciao ciao.